grab your check and come on. For me, it's for some people, it's not a great first of the month. I can understand, I can feel you. As you know, I grew up in the welfare system. It's something that's used to help those people who are struggling, especially those people who have families. And right now, I'm not gonna get to it. I would do something. I would talk about this something on tomorrow. I'm gonna do a little discussion on that because But right now, we're winding down. We got about about I think like about good 8 more weeks left of 2025. We have some shows coming up. We This weekend we have two IFB Pro shows. One is going to be Saturday in Vegas. That is the Steve Carr show. It's going to be this year. It's going to be the first show that's going to have women's bodybuilding post after Olympia. And the other show is Remain Muscle Fest. It used to be the only show that had women's bodybuilding competition post after Olympia. And then also it has women's physique, and there's also a show in the United Coast that has women's physique, and also a couple more shows. And then after that, in December, we have the Nationals. And after that, it's going to be kind of dry for me for a good while. Not much to talk about, not enough going around. But if y'all out there who are fans of bodybuilding, just fans in general of Women of Muscle, shoot me. Let me know if you have a topic you'd like me to talk about. I remember while I was doing an interview, I asked a question to someone: what can we do to get more attention for bodybuilding, especially for the women? And the answer is never easy because, as you know, bodybuilding is seen as a fringe sport, and people know as much don't like to see the women compared to the guys, but even the guys get their a little side eye because of all they always talk about how they use the performance enhancers and steroids, yada yada. But again, there's other sports where they use those same things, but people don't really poke the finger at that as much. So here I have my guests. I should have some guests on later who give their thoughts of what can do to really advance bodybuilding, maybe get more attention. We talked about it before, but it's really something I think we really need to get more depth into. So my first guest here is my young nephew, Alex. There's Alex here. Yeah, hey, welcome, Alex.
Hey, how's it going?
All right, how are you? How are you? How you doing?
Same old, same old. It's I can't believe it's November already, and I'm getting prepped up for the holidays. Hoping my job will help cover everything. It's gonna be quite for today. It's gonna be interesting for me. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. And my next guest is my big brother here, Mr. Big Keith Wibbins. He's on the road. He's always on the road,
Always on the road.
always on the
Gotta
road.
go
He,
basketball shoe shopping for Kansas. Basketball season about to start, so we gotta go get her hoop shoes now.
yeah,
How
yeah.
how good luck's your daughter?
She's 11, but she's a freak of nature in basketball and softball. So she's one of the
That's
premier
cool.
basketball and best softball players in the state of Kansas.
Yeah, and Keith's never alone. He has his dear wife with him. She's sitting over there on the side. Hello to lovely Ivy Pro, Miss Tina S. Williams. She's there. So, folks, this is the thing about bodybuilding, and just not just the women, but also the men. What do y'all feel needed to maybe to get it back to like just have the Olympia? And it's funny, the biggest event in bodybuilding, not enough press attention.
It's just, it's been some speculation, and I'll just leave it at that. That the sport is becoming more corrupt and more political than ever, and people are just tired of seeing this shit. So if we used to say a thing in football: the eye in the sky don't lie. And when you start seeing things in the sport, let's take the Prague show where Samson lost to a guy who shouldn't have should lost to, and people on the phones and all this shit going on. It's becoming and you see it I've seen it at the amateur level for years as a three-time runner-up at USA's and Nationals. It's just and it's real. Politics is real. The corruption is real. And I'm just gonna call it as it is. People can say what they fucking want to say, but when you've been in this sport as long as I have, what you know. And so until you get that out of there, the question. Here's the thing. This is what. Here's a good topic for you, George. How much do judges make judging shows? How much does Tyler make? How much does Steve make? How much does Stanley make? How much do these judges make judging these shows? That's what I want to know. because they judge a lot of shows. There's a lot of shows like Tammy Bragg. Oh, we got a 120, what is that, 125 shows all over the country, this, that, and other. I want to know how much these judges are making, like Steve and Tyler and Sandy and the higher up as far as the judging panels are concerned, Tamers and the Gundys. And I wonder how much these guys are making, judging these shows, because it's just like the whole Master Olympia where people weren't getting paid and all this other shit and things going on. It's like, how much are these guys getting paid to judge these shows, to travel around the world to judge these shows? Clearly, they're paying for their travel. Truly, they're paying for their, for them to get there. But I wonder how much these guys are actually making judging these shows because they've been around since I've been around. Tyler came in late into the picture because he was wrestling at Maryland when I was an amateur. Now he's the vice president of the IFBB, which is amazing all in itself. But again, like, that's a true question. What are these judges getting paid to judge these shows? And there's a lot of here's the thing: if they're not getting paid, everything everything has corruption in it. And this is one of those things where there's my problem with with the sport that I've now stepped away from. There's no Jesus Christ. There's no accountability whatsoever. Zero accountability in judging or nothing. It took Sandy Williamson to get back to Tina, not the judge that she did the show, but Sandy Williamson was the judge who finally got back to Tina, not the judge at Titan, none of the judges at I think the one girl, but not the head judge, got back to Tina to give her feedback on what she needs to do to come in the show better. And maybe because he didn't know. But these are questions that need to be answered to the athletes because these athletes, us as athletes, are putting our heart and soul into these shows, putting our health and everything else on the line, and with no answers. And when you get bullshit answers, it even piss you off even more. Like, think about it this way: Derek won the Olympia this year. Guess who handed him the trophy? His sponsor, the head sponsor of the show, handed Derek the trophy. Should Derek have won? Fuck no, he shouldn't have won. But he did. Just saying. I was once told that I was asking when I was with Muscular Development back in the day when they had it. I said, how do you get on the cover of a magazine? You know how you got on the cover of a magazine? Your sponsors paid for ads in their magazines to put you on the cover. Not because you're the best bodybuilder in the world, but because your sponsor paid for pages upon pages in these magazines to put you on the cover of the magazine. So let's start there. You know what I'm saying?
But we all know that this sport is about who knows who you know and who you can do. And the thing is, with bodybuilding, it's always changing. But the thing is, it's the same people who have the control.
Yeah.
And if like this, if you want more attention for your sport, you should be able to put the right people in the right places. Especially if the media is a big thing that you need to support this sport, because why not work with the people who understand the media? Like
Well, here's the thing. Why don't you have people veterans like a Linda Murray, like a Alina Popa, like a Chris Koscheski, like a Flex Wheeler, like a Kevin LeBron, like a Dorian Yates, old heads who are Hall of Fame bodybuilders who actually know what the fuck they're doing and what they're talking about? Why don't GM go to these guys and I seen Linda Tina sent the old video of Linda posing. I think she probably sent it to you. Why don't you go back to the old heads and go, when the bodybuilding was at its peak and at its best, when it was done the right way, and it hasn't been done the right way in a long time, and they wonder why it's fading. There is no accountability for anybody in the sport right now. None. Zero. Zero.
Mhm, mhm. We
Who's
have
holding the
here.
cross? I mean, they can give us any. I mean, think about it. As spectators or as competitors, they can give us any. And I've got this for many, many years as a competitor. They can give you any bullshit answer that they want to, and you just got to eat it and keep it fucking moving. Because if you bitch and complain about it, you're blackballed, and that's just the way it is.
Mhm. We have here guest, my man Jeremy from the Art of Female Muscle. Welcome, brother. Thank you for coming through.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Hi,
I got a
Jeremy.
What's up,
couple.
Jeremy?
I got a couple comments here. Let me get them out of the way. Shout out to my man Emmanuel. Says, "Hey George, what's up? This sounds like it will be a good conversation. I appreciate
Yeah, I
that."
agree. I agree. Yeah.
Also, he says, To answer the question for today's topic, there is a fan base of female bodybuilding. The issue is that channeled in the wrong places. The issue is those wrong places are providing income for them. Yeah, that's true. But the thing is, yeah. But when Keith mentioned the people like Linda Murray, quite a few other competitors that competed, they used to be like you used to catch them on like ESPN on the networks. That was, I think, when bodybuilding was at its height.
Yep.
But then it seems like it just wasn't, maybe because certain people wouldn't, they didn't have the look that TV wanted, or is all going to say about the issue of steroids. Since Jeremy popped in, give me your thoughts.
Well, I mean, I think there is a fan base for this. It's just unfortunately a lot of the people who are fans of the competition. I mean, I've said this before. I'll say it again. They're streaming this shit for free. Either that, or they'll buy one webcast for it. Then they'll put it on their social media so everybody else can go and watch it. And you know who I'm talking about when I say that. Who I'm referring to. So it's like, as long as that continues, as long Layla Ash even pointed this out. If you're doing that, if she said on, I think it was Amazon's podcast. I'm trying to remember which show it was, but that's what she pointed out. She said, if you're streaming this shit for free, you're killing this. You're helping to kill this. Because how are they going to be taken seriously if they're not making any money? Because all a promoter has got to do is find out that this shit is being streamed, especially women's bodybuilding and women's physique, and know that stuff is being streamed for free. They're losing money right there. And by doing that, you are giving the promoter all the ammunition they need to pull the division from the show. Because right there, they see they're not making any money off of it, or it's being dramatically curtailed by these fans who see fit to do that. So I've said it before, I'll say it again. Fans have got to start ponying up money. I mean, it's like if you want to go to a show, go to the show. Pay money, buy a ticket, go to the show. If you can't make the show but you want to see it, buy the webcast. Don't look for stuff for free. The fans, and now I understand that everybody is in a different financial situation. I mean, not everybody is going to be able to necessarily do that.
I see
But
what you. Hey,
at the same time, I mean, even donating like $5 to one of these women directly, I mean, that can help. I mean, I don't think people are necessarily going to turn that away. But for me, it's just a question of money. You have to start shelling out the money. The fans have got to start putting their money where their mouths are. And the more of them that actually do that, the more they'll pay attention to it. The more they'll take it seriously. That's just my 2 cents worth on it.
Yeah, that's true.
great.
I did the other, like we did the Olympia. I didn't stream the whole thing. I was like showing clips here and there, but then because I was doing that, then I had got a strike, and also because I didn't mean to do it on purpose. Like I said, I was just doing a critique. I showed a little bit here and there, but not the whole show. But then because they're trying to protect their interest in the Olympia, but I did do the prejudging, but didn't have the same problem. I might have showed a little more in the prejudging that I did for a little more of the finalists. I did the prejudging, and the thing is that you know it's just they could, like, Arnold, he doesn't you know um you know do pay-per-view. He shows it for free pretty much. But to me, I don't care to see it for free because it has nothing on there for me to worth watching. It's just, I don't know. Somebody has to either step up. I don't know if the IB will ever do that, make their own, because you have things like Tubi, and Tubi got a contract with the NFL. We have ESPN is showing sports like cornhole and pillow fighting, but you had the biggest event in bodybuilding. You had celebrities there. Shannon Sharp was there. Little John was there. I mean, you wouldn't think that like a big event like the Olympia, you wouldn't, have like some, like when I was at Tampa, I met David Lee Roth. I mean, I don't know why. I mean, that's when the press should really step up and say, hey, let's go check this out. We might see some celebrities and get talk to the bodybuilders and get their feedback. And and that's what people really need to know, you know interests these competitors, men and women.
Well, the problem is the promotion aspect of it, and they don't promote it very well. So you're never going to get, you're never going to know that, I've been to shows with Shaq and Triple H and all the Triple H and all these guys have been at shows, but if they're based off if it's based off of people just coming to shows with no promotion, guess what? Again, we talk about this over and over, and it's a fucking redundant conversation, and it's actually just tiresome at this point in time. NFL. I played in the NFL, NBA, NLB. Like Stephen A. Smith was just saying, the best thing that the MLB did was change the put the pitch clock on. Pitch clock on. They understand their sport and how to make it interesting. And this World Series probably has put the base MLB back on the map because they chose to change things. The NFL has chose to change things. They went, I played in NFL Europe, and now they took away NFL Europe, but now there's games in Berlin and Germany and in Mexico and all this other stuff. There's no marketing strategy with the IFBB whatsoever fucking ever. Oh, there's a show. Well, what show was that? But there's no marketing to it. All these NBA, WNBA now, the NFL, the MLB, the NHL, they have people in line that says, how do we get our sport to be more popular? Because all of them are already mainstream, but more popular so fans become more interested. And that's not what you don't have with the IFBB at all, period. So I remember the first year the Olympia was at in Orlando. I was on the elevator with Jake Woods, and we were talking. I'm like, so how do you think things going? And he was like, stream it. He goes, somebody is streaming it, so it was costing him money. Well, guess what? If you ever watch the NFL, if you ever watch the Major League, what do they tell you? If you get caught streaming their shit, there's a price to pay, right? You don't see that because the IFBB they're so much endowed with lining their pockets than anything else. These promoters are so worried about lining their pockets, what what's best for them than anybody else. So they don't do it, So again, they're never going to be able to compete with any of these players. And here's the thing: you got ESPN too, you got all these other, networks and things that you can go through, but they have nobody in the IFBB or the NPC willing to think outside the box. So it's always going to be a redundant conversation until that changes. And that's just fucking facts.
hmm We have here another guest. We have OCB Pro Nicole Strauss here, and
Hey, Nicole.
and she
Hi.
could, yeah, hey, and she competes at OCB, and their Santa, I think their format's a little bit better. I would say. Do you feel like in your sport you think that more mainstream attention would help out bodybuilding in general as a competitor yourself?
Yeah, of course. But I don't know with OCB, especially with the women, they don't look as not as big and as lean as they are. And there's OCB doesn't have a women's bodybuilding division, so I think people who this is my personal opinion. I think people who like bodybuilders, they're fascinated by it because they have this look that looks so unobtainable. You know, this kind of like this freakishly strong superhero kind of look that it's very hard to obtain. So people think it's impossible, but I think that's the look that they want. I think with OCB, if you look at an OCB athlete, especially in figure, I've seen like super lean figure competitors, but not as lean as muscular as they come in like in IFBB. So I think people like that look, the IFBB look, as opposed to the OCB look, because the OCB look doesn't look as crazy. But well, I don't know. I would think the look, the women's bodybuilding, the IFBB, would get more attention. I mean, you can try and make OCB mainstream. I'm sure they'll have an they'll have an audience, they'll have a following. Not as big as women's bodybuilding in the IFBB though. I don't think so. That's just my personal opinion.
That's right. Because you know what, I think
Yeah.
everybody looks that different because it's OCB. Y'all are natural. Y'all don't.
Yeah.
There's should be you should be getting more attention because there's no issue about performance enhancer use. But
Hmm.
then you still get accused. I've seen some girls who look just as shredded as some women in the IFBB,
Hmm.
but their shreds are different because it's more natural.
Yeah.
You think that like right now the Pittsburgh Pro just this year they added a natural pro qualifier,
Hmm.
and now they want to expand more into natural bodybuilding. you would think that was something that would get more attention. Say, hey, you want to get away from the whole thing about the use of PEDs and drugs. I think even hearing some people say, hey, let's do a natural Olympia.
Mhm.
But I doubt that ever happened because that means you already got a master Olympia. Then where are you going to figure out? Because there's not enough natural shows in the IBB right now. It's only a handful in NPC, but
Mhm.
most of them competitors going to have to come from the OCB. And I know
Yeah.
quite a few OCB competitors who would not go into the NPC and IBB.
Mhm.
But we get on stage and compete against the enhanced competitors. There's been a few ladies that hold their own, did pretty good, but still, it's just another level you have to try to compare yourself to. Here we got shot to my man here, Emmanuel. He says this to clarify my previous comment. Men who are fans will watch female bodybuilding, but not through a mainstream platform. They will watch it through the fetish content most of the time, uh, e.g., of OnlyFans and MSU. That's Muscle Worships. I think that's what it's supposed to be. Also, to be fair, the tickets to see the show live in person or on webcast can be expensive. They could, determine a fair price on a supply and demand basis. If the show isn't popular, decrease the price. But they aren't going to do that because I know David told me that his seats for the show, he was in the balcony. If that's for the main show, that was like 350. How much was it for you, Alex? Because I know you were at both prejudging and the main show.
Oh, I actually I didn't go to the. No, I was waiting for David for the main show. I waited in the lobby for him. Don't take it the wrong way. It's just I followed me. I did see prejudging. I just paid for the expo basically. It was like $320, I believe.
Damn. Yeah. Oh, that's crazy. I
It's
Yeah, but
expensive.
well, I heard the finals are very expensive. Very like I think it were like more than 400. I believe they were cost.
No, Alex. When I went to Olympia, I got the VIP package.
I
Um,
didn't. I didn't. I was. It was too late for. It was too late for me to get VIP package. It was sold out by the time I.
yeah.
Yeah,
Sure. But it probably would have been cheaper just to get the whole VIP package
that's what
instead
I'm
of just.
planning to do. I'm planning to do that next time. Just I'll buy it as soon as it's announced. I promise. Just
what so
it's my
what
first
what
time. It's my first time. It's
Okay. Mhm.
that's a but what is the price? 'Cause I know we had a last night me and KL and some and other guys in the room.
Oh,
He
AXS.
he
Good luck with
he
that. I couldn't even figure that out. I tried getting on that website. It barely didn't want me. They had to turn off the VPN, turn off multiple tabs, everything.
Yeah,
Nothing.
I think I got the silver package. It was like I think I paid $740 for the silver package.
Hey,
Whoa.
I was trying to get like I think the gold, like the main package was like 800. I was like, all right, if I'm gonna pay
Jeez.
I might as well get the gold,
wow.
get the whole VIP package. But that sold
Wow.
out quick.
So you
So
telling me you paid $700
yeah,
and what was contained in this package?
I could go prejudging expo, meet the Olympians before there's the panel. There's the panel where all the like it's like the top competitors come out. Maybe the ones that won last year, the men and the women for each category. Um, I get tickets to the finals, and I can also go to the after all the Olympians that won, Mr. Olympia. They have a panel discussion the next day after men's finals, and you meet all the
Nice.
Olympians. So it's good. It includes everything. You don't have to pay for anything separately. So it's a lot. And they give you nice little gifts too. So
That much, yo. Whoa, whoa. Yeah, yeah. Somebody better give me a reach around for that much, $700.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
nasty,
nuts.
nasty.
But I think, yeah, I think Keith makes a great point when it comes to marketing. It's like personally, I think the marketing. I mean, in the age of the internet, if you want to find out anything, you can. But let's take what he said about marketing is that even if you do expand into more natural shows, the people who are responsible for marketing for the enhanced bodybuilding are also responsible for the natural bodybuilding. And
Exactly.
if they are not, like Keith said, if they are not promoting this, then it really isn't going to behoove them because if the same people are making the same mistake for natural bodybuilding and enhanced bodybuilding, what's improved?
Nothing.
Right, exactly. One thing that I've noticed is that people tend to stay within the bodybuilding circle when it comes to going on podcasts or such like that. It's like you'll have bodybuilding competitors, you'll have bodybuilding judges or coaches or such like that going on bodybuilding podcasts talking about bodybuilding. All you're doing there is preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
People have got to be willing to get outside of that. They got to be willing to, like, for if you're going to have a show wherever, look around for the general public, the podcasters, the radio, the TV personalities that are locally there in the show. I mean, they're in the city or wherever it's going to be, and reach out to them. Say, hey, is there any way we can get on to try and do advertising for this outside the bodybuilding community? That's how you bring more people in. That's how you
Exactly.
get more people interested. And
Yep.
they're not, and by and large, they're not doing that.
Nope.
They're just staying there in the bodybuilding bubble. They got to stop doing that. They got to start. A good example of this was Linda Murray, and I'm trying to figure out who else it was. It was on a local TV show promoting was it the Rising Phoenix or
There's the
was
Rise
it
of Phoenix.
the
Yep.
Rising Phoenix? Yeah, it's like they would go out there and they did a great job. I mean, that's the kind of marketing, that's the kind of publicity you need to be going with. If you're wanting to really get more people interested, if you want to have more people show up at shows, you can't just stay in the bodybuilding bubble. You got to get outside of it in the general public.
And it has to be an interactive thing where the fans can, it's not just, oh, boy, a VIP package, you get to meet the Olympians before the show and get to meet listen to their, them after the show. It needs to be a more interactive thing than just that. And if it's
Hmm.
not more interactive than just that, you're just going to be dead in the water. I mean, it's just facts. I mean, that's just facts. Marketing 101. How do we get the fans interested? By moving with the time and changes of which the sport needs to be more popular. And I just heard Stephen A. Smith say it today. The MLB, the two teams in the World Series, what the MLB decided to do with the pitch count and everything else this last year it's going to be huge for the MLB now. If you're not changing with the change of time, if you're not changing with the way the sport is moving or the society is moving or social, now you got social media, you got all this shit that they didn't have in the 80s, they didn't have in the 90s. Now you got all this stuff and you're still staying stagnant, you're just dead in the water. Like Jeremy said, and we were talking about, you're just dead in the water because if you're staying stagnant and not getting out there to other people, and it's just not about seeing the freaks of nature, it's like educating people, letting people know what's going to come. And these are local shows. These are all the shows that we're talking about. If Tamer's saying that and remember at the Titan show, they said they have 125 shows nationwide. Well, who all knows that? Who all knows that? Besides Muscle Contest, who are putting on all these shows in different continents, and how many people are at these shows? If you're not promoting the shows accordingly with the news people, like I was watching these things with Sean Ray and Milos and all these guys are doing these things, working out, and you know Ronnie Coleman and Jay Cutler talking on news things and letting people know that the Olympia coming, and that intrigues people. But you see none of that whatsoever because if here's the thing, Weeder was a visionary when this sport came to fruition. And if he was alive today, or I'm sure he's fucking rolling over in his grave right goddamn now, the way the direction of which the sport come in, because he was the biggest visionary of his era in time. And now it's just stagnant. And I'm sure he would be pissed off right now if he knew what was actually going on in this sport because he was always thinking outside the box, always thinking about the next thing. Even when he was selling his weights and all this other shit, and even when he wanted to open up gyms and people thought it was a joke. Oh, people not going to a gym. Everywhere, every corner I turn, there's a fucking gym on the face of because he was always thinking outside the box. Now you got the people in charge not thinking outside the box, but only willing to line their pockets. And that's not what he was willing to do because he was the guy who was a pioneer of what he had going on. There was competition with him, but he was like, how do I compete with my competition or my predecessor? And how do I think outside the box to make this sport more popular? That was Weeder. And that's not what you see this day and age.
Yeah.
It's just facts.
That's
Yeah.
that's true. I mean,
But
it's
we
like
have
also a big area. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, we have a guest that's popped in, Josh Simpkins. He's
Hey,
in the
how's it
building.
going? Empire
Oh,
Nation, stand up. How's it going?
Hey,
hey, how's it going?
what you doing wearing that?
We have a game tonight. Hello, I guess the Arizona Cardinals.
They didn't have nothing.
The cowgirls. Oh God.
Cowboys.
Yeah, cowgirls. I don't watch football much like I used to when I was younger, but I've never been. Oh, I used to like them a little bit when they had Jimmy Johnson the coach, but then Jerry Jones fucked it up. So
Yeah, true.
so yeah. So Josh, you've been listening. What's your thoughts on?
I just now came in. What we talking about?
Well, we know we like to talk about how what can get like this is something we talked about before, but I feel like I want to get more in depth into it, especially after
Hmm?
Olympia, where it's not seems like no one really paying attention or giving it recognition to bodybuilding. Even for the women, it's hard because of who they are, their bodies, because they don't fit the norm, And it seems like I don't know. It's just if for order for bodybuilding to really to grow, either you have to cut some people out of it and push new blood into it and maybe expand it more.
Well,
I
what I see is they need to like visit like gyms and stuff and promote gyms and do like YouTube channels, promote themselves and Instagram because it ain't like what it used to be back in the day where it just be on ESPN, NBC, Fox Sports. You have to do all that on your own. It seems.
Instagram when it was successful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that was its heights right about the 80s and 90s. Early 2000s is pretty good, but then after a while it kind of drained off
So,
when I,
so my question to everybody who thinks social media is so important: how is it so popular back in the day when we didn't have that?
well,
Think about
we
that. You didn't
I
have
think
social media. You didn't have Facebook. You didn't have Instagram. You didn't have TikTok. You didn't have any of that shit. All you had were female bodybuilders that competed, and it fucking skyrocketed. So you tell me that because I don't promote myself the way that I should, that it doesn't bring or draw attention. How did it draw attention then? They didn't have that.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Because
Yeah.
Weeder was around.
But I'm just saying, that is obviously not a reason why it was popular then. So it doesn't have to be a reason now. What is that reason? Why was it so popular without all of that?
Well, I have to go with what he said because you have people like the Weeder brothers, Ben and Joe. Then you had shows like remember you used to have the like people like Kiana Tom and Monica Brent used to be on ESPN working out. Sometimes I'll see they post some people will post those old workout videos on IG because it was a throwback. You
Yeah.
remember Corey Everson used to be work out with Galad. You know, you had also shows like American Gladiators. You had people putting the work in. But I think people have gotten lazy and complacent when it comes to advertising.
Here's the
They
thing. Here's the funny thing, and this is what I say about Weeder. Who found Arnold Schwarzenegger? And it wasn't Weeder. He sent scouts out to find some of the best bodybuilders in the world. And a scout said, "I found this kid in Austria," and they brought him to the United States. And Arnold put bodybuilding on the map. Remember, Weeder had competition because it was a different federation besides his federation at the time. And so when Weeder found that, he then understood I have to start thinking out of the box. He then he put who was the black bodybuilder was the first bodybuilder on the front of the magazine, and everybody thought that was a big deal. His son competes now. I can't remember his damn name.
Sergio Olivier.
Sergio Oliva. And that was a big deal. But Weeder said, I don't give a shit what the norm is. I'm going to put this guy, Oliva, on the cover of a magazine and promote him. But again, black bodybuilders back then weren't the norm, and he decided to think outside the box. And guess what? Well, look at where we're at now.
Hmm. Yeah, we
right.
have
And then
here. We
sorry, go ahead.
we have here one of our usual suspects, my man KL the Wanderer. We just
Yeah.
get live last night. We really were getting some stuff. We're getting heated. We're getting heated.
Mm.
Yeah. Go ahead. Jeremy.
I was just going to say one big difference between today and back then is that the Weeders advertised
Yes,
publicly. I mean,
yes,
you had the likes of Rachel McLish, going on Late Night with David Letterman,
Yes.
promoting her book Flex Appeal. You
Oh,
had a Donahue, which was a very popular nationwide talk show. You had you
Geraldo
had
Rivera.
yeah, you had a number of talk shows, and all of these were in the public domain. All of
yes.
these were in the general public. Another big factor was the movie Pumping Iron 2 that came
Yes.
out in
Mm-hmm.
1985.
I
Yeah.
remember
Okay,
that.
and then
Mm-hmm.
you look at the Miss Olympia then that was in the Felt Forum in New York City that year is that you had roughly about 5,000 people showing up for that show, and that's significant for two reasons. One, you don't have any other women's divisions other than female bodybuilding,
Yep.
and two, and second, there's no Olympia weekend at this time. The Mr. and Miss Olympia shows were held totally separately. I think the Mr. Olympia was held in Belgium that year. So it's like these 5,000 people, they're only there to see female bodybuilding.
Yep.
And that, as far as I know, is still a record to this
Yes.
day.
It
And
is.
but a big difference is that they insisted on trying and advertising in the public domain. I think with social media, I think Tina's comment is very well taken. Is that social media has allowed people to just create this bubble in which everybody who wants to talk bodybuilding just talks among each other. Where's the desire to Where's the desire to market yourself in the general public anymore?
Mhm. We
Where
have
is
a
that?
True.
we have a comment from our man Raheem Hamilton. He says you don't have promoters who can push the sport into ESPN and other sports shows. Also, you don't have any bodybuilders who has confidence in the charisma to push bodybuilding as a sport today. Also, he says this. He says, "I feel you need to have new blood in the sport. Retire the old bodybuilders to keep the sport fresh." Like one example is like this is I'm going
Ooh.
to pull up this. This is the current women's physique champion is Natalia Coelho, and
Yeah.
I think people are a big fan of Natalia. Me, I'm not a big fan. I know some of you guys are. Me, I'm not. I'll admit
I
that.
am.
And a while back, she
Very
actually, yeah, actually, she was on. She's done this. This is not the first time she's done this. She was on a newscast,
Oh
and
my
the
God, she
thing
was on a
is,
local news station.
a local news station. And
she
here where
was.
is what? Yeah, because even though, like I said, I still follow her. Even though this is a local news station, you would think the IFBB and NPC will want to take advantage of this, promote their one of the
Yeah.
champions in one of the popular divisions. Like here it is. This is one of her sitting here, as you know, this is right here. Yeah, and also this is I think this is from the newscast here.
Biggest women in the country. When I got on stage, I knew my part was done. I'm very excited, proud, as you can see. Miss Olympia is right here because that's something that's going to stay in my heart forever.
She's a Central Florida resident and a UCF grad, and she's Ms. Physique Olympia. You're going to meet her when after the whistle returns. Biggest women in the country.
That was the first time she did it, and this is her back here again. And you would think
I'm just living my life.
you think someone like the IBNBC would take advantage of this. Post this on your website. Post this out. You got the current champion. She's doing a local news show. Why not someone like Dan Solomon or someone like whoever who's sitting co-chair of the IFB, like someone like Tyler Manning's not there, sitting there and and say, hey, this is our champion, yada 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 yada, talking about her and promoting her, and also same thing with some of the guys. To me, they are dropping the ball on this. Here it goes here.
International Day of Bodybuilding, and luckily, we have one of the best bodybuilders in the world living in Central Florida. And Natalia Coelho visited News 6 last night. The president just won the title of Ms. Olympia for the second time. Competition is like the Super Bowl of bodybuilding. News 6 first met Natalia soon after she won Ms. Olympia in 2022. And since then, the West Orange High School grad not only returned to the top of her sport, she also earned her PhD in natural medicine. So she's Dr. Natalia Coelho and Miss Olympia. What was your reaction?
Here's the thing that don't make sense. Where you should be, she put herself out there. She's the one who's putting in the
Hmm.
work and time and promoting herself. Why not IFBB do it? Because this is one of their top athletes.
Called lazy.
Why not you just hit? Yeah, there you go, lazy.
Not only
So,
that, wasn't Nina Beans on the talk show?
Yeah,
what you
Yeah,
Nina
say?
Beans also did a little talk show. Yeah, Nina Beans. She also was, Nina Beans
on
just went
Portrait
pro.
TV. Yeah.
Yeah, a while back. I'll see if I can find it. But the thing is that you know everybody's kind of like, as Keith said, it's lazy. They
Yeah.
want all the benefits, but not putting any of the work.
And
And,
also
and,
they
and let's be clear when we say lazy, we're talking about the federation, the
Hmm.
people who make the decisions. It's not complicated to look at other sports, NFL, MLB, the other sports I've already named, and said, how are they making this work and how are they tweaking it every year to become more popular? The Shield is a brand, and I'm proud to be a retired veteran of the Shield, and they take very good care of me. But again, at the end of the day, how do we brand ourselves to be better every year? They don't. It's just the same old shit every year because you have nobody thinking outside the box. Here's the thing: if the IFBB and the NPC are as big as they say they are, you would have Dan Solomon, Jake Woods would just have a marketing team because everybody else does has a marketing team that sits there and go, how do we make it better for 2026? Shit, how do we make it better for 2030? How do we make it better for every year? This is what other sports do, and this is what the IFBB does not do, or the NPC for that matter. And that's just crazy to me.
and also one area that they
We
fall
got a
behind.
comment from shout out to Raheem Robert Himpton. Wait a minute. Wait a second. Raheem says promoters can have the Mr. Olympia on Tubi just like the NFL did the Super Bowl. And also, this is from man XA Gucci 23 says, Happy Monday, George Page and Pam. Appreciate it.
Happy
Go
Monday.
ahead, Jeremy.
Happy Monday.
Well, I was just gonna tack on to what Keith was saying. One area that they have always lagged behind the IFBB NPC is in technology.
Yeah.
They've always done that. I mean, it's like when everybody else was getting onto streaming media, when everybody else was exploring video opportunities. I mean, all the major sports brands were looking into this. What were we doing? What was bodybuilding doing? We were doing texted play-by-plays on forum boards
Yeah.
while they were doing all of this shit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I mean, can you get any more behind the times? And then they say we proudly present the texted play-by-play. If I was the company and I found out my company was sponsoring a texted play-by-play at that time, I would have been embarrassed.
Yeah.
I would have said, "What the hell are you people doing? Why are we not getting into streaming media?" And they're also behind the times now because you look at these other places; they're going into 4K and 8K resolutions.
Yes.
Where are we? What are we still doing?
I mean, I've been watching some of these
I mean,
overseas shows too, man. They way ahead of them.
yeah, it boggles my mind that they're so far behind when they insist on staying behind when it comes to technology. It's like, guys, please get with the times.
Hey, because that means you got to
Please.
spend. Because that means broke money don't make money as far as the NFL, the NBA, the WNBA, the MLB. So they said we got to spend money to make money, and that's not what the IFBB is willing to do. That's the problem.
Nope.
Yeah. Here we got a comment from Raheem Hamilton. Shout out to Raheem as usual. He says, and the local news station was professional with her and did not ask her out of pocket things and let her talk about the sport of bodybuilding. Okay, that's good. Also, shout out to my
That's
man
good.
here, Emmanuel. He says the issue today is that social media, it has created numerous platforms to advertise on. So as a result of that, it may take a bit more time and effort to advertise and market FEB as a sport. They had the
True.
time. It's been around for over 20 years.
What?
over 20 years. So,
Yeah.
it can't be the reason that, hey, you do, because you're just slow. You get someone like Tyler Mann, he's supposed to be a young prodigy. He should be stepping up and saying, hey, granddad, we need to do this. We need to do that. We need to reach out to this person, that person. We need to talk to this. We need to get them on the podcast. We can't be just be like RX Muscle or,
The
this
blueprint was
person
already
here.
printed for you by Weeder. He's already put the blueprint down. All you got to do is make it better. But
Right.
you're not willing to make it better.
Right.
Correct.
The blueprint is already out there. He started it. He was the pioneer of the sport. He had a big time competitor when he first started got in the sport. And he thought outside the box. So it's like, okay, what does the NFL do every year? And I'll use the NFL because I played in the NFL for a year. Every year the sport has gotten better and it makes more money because they know that they got to think ahead for the next year and how they strategize how to make it better. If you have a blueprint, and you sit there and goes, well, this is what Weeder did. How do we make it better? How do we make it better the next year? How do we make it better? And they just have not done that.
Mhm. Like right now, the Super Bowl, you're gonna have Bad Bunny singing, and he's a popular artist. He
Yes.
may not, he's not gonna speak any English in his song, but people recognize his music. First I heard about him was where my man Glenn, he was like doing one of his photo sessions, came through and just hanging out with him, and he played Bad Bunny in the background doing his photo session.
Here's the funny
Here,
thing. Remember last year they had the with the guy who went on the Super Bowl and made all the controversy, and then the NFL said they
Kendrick
wasn't going to
Lamar.
pay him. But guess what?
Yeah.
He already knew he was going to make more money, even if they didn't pay him, because he was thinking ahead of the whole him and Drake controversy bullshit. So he's already thinking, he goes, I don't even need that money because I'm going to make more money by what I'm about to do. So again, you have a performing artist thinking ahead, but you don't even got a guy in the IFBB the vice president thinking ahead. That's just silly to me. That's just
Yeah.
absolutely silly to me.
Yeah.
Here we got a comment here. This is from Raheem says both Mr. and Miss Olympia need to hit as many media markets to promote their sport. Yes, he need to do that.
True
Also,
that.
shout out to Emmanuel says wasn't Sherry Hirami on a local news station as well. She tried to put herself out there as well. Yeah, she
Yes,
did
she
report.
did. Yeah, she
Hmm.
Remember?
was. Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember that.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
was. Yeah, and also this is from my man Raheem says everyone wants the bag, but guess what? If you don't push your sport, then there is no money. And as I said earlier, I mentioned Nina Beans. She did a thing with. I'm gonna pull this up. This is
There we go.
yeah, I found it because I searched it for a bit, and this is with
Okay.
it's called the Portia TV show, I think it is, and she did a couple stuff here. Here's one here where she's talking with them.
Don't.
Don't.
Yes,
Do.
do.
Don't.
It depends.
Don't.
Okay, don't.
You can.
Do. Don't.
Don't do it.
Don't.
Ooh. Don't.
If the in between.
Yeah. For some it works.
Yeah.
Exactly. You might need your love at the gym.
You can
Do
and
you can.
don't.
Right.
Yeah. Because not everybody know what they're doing.
Facts. But there are some, like myself, that do.
Do. I like waist trainers. Depending on what type of waist trainer it is.
I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wear mine too. So
And
you have to wear it all the time.
Also, here she is again.
Because the rest of us just see beautiful women with muscles. There are different levels, layers to this.
Yeah, different
Kalani, what do
categories.
you compete in? What do you do?
I'm in bikini.
Okay.
So it's about symmetry, small waist, tight glutes, some definition.
Check, 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 check.
Yeah, yeah. You
Serving
know.
all of the above.
Yeah. I think.
And then I do wellness. So it's more dominant lower glutes. You can have shoulders, and that's wellness.
And it looks, and you wear it well, my dear sister Nina.
I'm in women's bodybuilding, so we focus on overall symmetry. We pretty much have like shoulders, biceps,
Everything.
glutes.
Because the rest of us just see beautiful women with
Yeah.
muscles.
And here's somebody put this little thing in the comment section. Shanae Nate, I know that's about Nina. Fuck them. I mean, you can kiss my whole, you can kiss my whole. Excuse my language. I don't say my whole. But your kids are in the car. I don't want to go too. But yeah, you don't like her. You don't have to, make any comments. And she just turned pro, and she looks amazing. I think she's great look to her. She's, as you know, she works as a a flight attendant. She runs her own business, and I mean, I was hoping I would love to see her make a pro debut this weekend in Vegas, but I hope we might see her next year. She's been competing for quite some time. This is someone.
Mm-hmm.
If I get my hands on her, I would love to promote her. She has a great look to her, very feminine. She's kind of Andrea-ish, Andrea Shaw-ish, especially with her look and her
I
muscle.
agree.
Yeah.
She's definitely a rising star, though. I'll give her that.
hmm what you about to say, Keith?
Here's the thing, and I remember they used to do this when I was an amateur, and this is here's part of the problem. What those girls do is humanizing themselves to society, and that's what promotes the sport. And when you and Raheem is right, but when you don't have the IFBB or the NPC humanizing these people, all you guys get to see as fans and spectators is the people on stage. But you don't like. I remember Muscular Development came to my house, and they were there for like 3 or 4 days, and they did a day in the life of me. So they what time I woke up, to when I went to my chiropractor, to I went to the gym, to when I was coaching my son, to when I was training my athletes. That was the human side of me, not besides me being on stage. So it's like, oh, this is obtainable. I can do this and still have a life. And when you don't humanize these athletes, whether it's Andrea Shaw, whether it's uh, uh, Samson Dua or Derek or any of these guys, and all you do is see them on stage, nobody's interested, because the interest is, okay, how do I get people interested in this sport? By humanizing the athlete, and that's not what they do, and that's part of the problem.
Yeah, and it's like what you said earlier, Keith, is it's like the women taking advantage of this of their own accord when they go on these shows, or is the IFBB in any way supporting them
They're
or
not.
getting them on?
They're not.
So
I
it's
remember
like,
it was the girl who won the New York Pro before Natalia. God, she's a really nice girl, but she went on a news thing. But again, she promoted herself, and that's not fair. The NFL does not say, "Hey, Patrick Mahomes, we need you to promote yourself." Hey, Josh Allen, we need you to promote yourself. They know what their brand is. They know who their star athletes are, so they're going to promote the shit out of them for people to come watch them and to come see them play, no matter what, because that's what these brands do. They're like, our brand is the athlete, so we